Today on Ian vs. Daddybones, we're kicking off our own road to Wrestlemania with the WWE Coliseum Collection. Welcome back! It's another exciting episode of Ian vs. Daddybones. I am Ian Daddybones. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook right now, hey, what's up everybody? I got a special high five and a nut tap to all my Patreon subscribers, throwing me $3 a month to get access to bonus content, the Original Geeks podcast, and you get your name in the credits as my way of saying thank you for supporting the brand. Today on the show, I got some fucking awesome shit to talk about because it is officially March. We're on the road to WrestleMania because WWE just had the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. They just recently had the WrestleMania press conference in Las Vegas where all hell broke loose, but it was made official. It's going to be Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes again at WrestleMania 40 this year, and it's going to be fucking amazing. I got a lot of friends that I know are planning on going to WrestleMania this year, and it's going to be pretty fucking sick because it's 40 years of WrestleMania and holy shit. But today on the show, I want to talk about something that I don't plan on opening as far as taking them out of the package, but I'm going to be opening up these WWE Coliseum Collection boxes that I recently acquired over the past month and a half and added to my collection. And I gotta say, I am like absolutely blown away with what WWE is doing with this particular line of Ultimate Edition figures, and I'm gonna get into that. But this month, March, I'm going to be talking about and opening a lot of WWE Elite Ultimate Edition figures that I have acquired in the background that have showed up in boxes for Ian, as well as they've just been stockpiling in the background as I've been focusing on Masters of the Universe and Turtles of Grayskull, plus Eternia showing up, you know, and with it being March, I figured what better way to celebrate the road to WrestleMania than focus on all my WWE stuff. So right now, there's going to be a lot of WWE content coming this month. And like today, I'm going to be doing the Coliseum Collection boxes. But I'm also going to be having other figures that I'm going to be opening. For example, I got this WWE Iron Sheik figure from the WWE Elite Legends line. I also recently got this WWE Elite Greatest Hits Brutus Beefcake that I'm going to be opening up for Patreon subscribers, so I'm looking forward to that. And I've been having the hardest fucking time staying current with Mattel's WWE Superstars line, which are the 5.5-inch posable WWE figures that are using the same shared parts as the Masters of the Universe Origins figures. So I finally got a line of WWE figures that are the same size as the He-Man figures, and they've been absolutely sick. And I was able to get the first 3 waves of WWE Superstars and a couple figures of Wave 4, but I haven't been able to find like Wave 5, 6, 7, and from what I understand, they're like up to like Wave 9, Wave 10 of WWE Superstars, and the distribution has just been fucking terrible and all over the place. Like, I got 2 Walmarts in our area. One Walmart may have nothing but new shit. The other Walmart may have nothing at all. And then the following week, the one Walmart that had all the new shit has nothing at all. And then suddenly, the other Walmart has figures from last year that I was never able to find. So I happened to be in luck because my wife and I were at Walmart and we had to grab some stuff for the house. And like normal, actually I think I needed to grab a new furnace filter, to be honest with you. And I happened to be walking past the toy aisle, and like always I happened to look, and sure enough they had Rowdy Roddy Piper in the WWE Superstars available. So I scooped him with the quickness, but looking at the back of his card, this Rowdy Roddy Piper WWE Superstars figure is part of the wave that includes Captain Lou Albano, Vader, and Hulk Hogan. Now, I'm not sure what version of Hulk Hogan this is, because there's variants of Hogan. There's like Hogan in his workout suit, and then there's like the 70s Hogan. So I'm not sure exactly what Hogan in this wave that's supposed to be, but got lucky finding Rowdy Roddy Piper in the wild, so I'm going to be opening him up for an upcoming Facebook reel. But enough about the stuff that's going to be coming soon on the show. Today we are talking about the WWE Coliseum Collection, and I'm really excited that I was able to grab all three of these boxes, because the reality is, right now, there's 3 WWE Coliseum Collection boxes that have been released, and I believe the first box, the Hulk Hogan Terry Funk box, if it didn't come out in 2021, it came out in 2022. So the way I think it works is, I don't know if they're putting out 1 Coliseum Collection box a year, or if they're doing 2 Coliseum Collection boxes a year, but either way, they've put out 3 so far, so I'd like to think that these boxes came out. It's a little dusty on top. These 3 boxes came out, I want to say, over the past 1.5 to 2 years, because now that we're in 2024, Mattel, actually it wasn't Mattel officially, it was, I actually found out through Matt Cardona and the Major Wrestling Figures podcast while showing up to grab my payroll for my 9 to 5, and I was waiting for the payroll to open, so I, started fucking around on my phone, booted up Instagram, and was scrolling Instagram, and I saw that Major Wrestling Figures posted pictures that the next WWE Coliseum Collection box is going to be dropping on March 14th of this month, and we're getting the Heart Foundation. But I'm going to talk about the Heart Foundation in a little bit, because I'm going to get right into this first box, because right here, the very first box, and honestly, I actually got to pause it real quick, because before I can get into the box, I have to go back to what I was talking about with when these figures first came out, because it started with the Hogan box, then we got the Jake the Snake Roberts Ravishing Rick Rude box, and the most recent box that came out was the Rowdy Roddy Piper George the Animal Steele. Now, with the Hogan Terry Funk box being the first box, that was the one box that I was surprised Mattel still had in stock. Because how it went down was, we had Thanksgiving, we all, celebrated with our families, depending on, how you celebrate your Thanksgiving. Some of you watched football, some of you just, ate food, some of you played video games, but a lot of you were probably counting down to the Black Friday sales and shit. So with that said, Mattel, during the Black Friday season, from like Black Friday to Cyber Monday, Mattel had like a BOGO deal going for like the entire month, So go to Mattel Creations, buy one, get one, 50% off, and it was going for like the whole month instead of just a weekend or a one-day thing like old school Black Friday, because with society, Black Friday has kind of earned a bad reputation if people are willing to trample little kids just to get a $40 fucking microwave, you know what I mean? And a lot of people are focusing on the online shopping and extending deals so that way you have more than enough time to shop and shit. So they had the entire BOGO month at Mattel Creations, and they even had, once they rolled into December, You know, they kept it going. So rolling into January, I happen to be looking at Mattel Creations because I'm still trying to keep my eye out for a Duplico, and sometimes Mattel will update their website, Mattel Creations, and not make a public announcement. So sometimes people will accidentally find about deals. So I was kind of hoping I'd get lucky and see if there was a random Duplico drop. So while looking around Mattel Creations, I saw that the WWE Coliseum Collection boxes were still in stock. And they were going for like $70 each. And with everything I've known and learned about dealing with Mattel Creations, purchasing from Mattel Creations, and even using the shop payment method for getting what I need and want, using small purchase loans, you know, it's not only been really easy for me to get what I want and add it to my collection, but at the same time, I'm being responsible as fuck, paying it all off when it's due, and I'm building and repairing my credit at the same time. So responsibility is fucking awesome, you know what I mean? So I saw that they still had the 3 boxes in stock, and I wound up making 3 separate orders per box. So I would have to put the minimum down just to get the fucker out in the mail and have it show up. So, and then I've just been taking care of the Coliseum Collection boxes and getting them taken care of and paid off. And these guys are all good to go, and these guys are officially all paid off, added to the collection, and now I can prepare for the Heart Foundation box to drop. But now I can officially go into what the fuck the Coliseum Collection is. The WWE Coliseum Collection is a box set of 2 Ultimate Edition figures that are based on and inspired by their counterpart figure that was originally released in the 80s as an LJN WWF Wrestling Superstars figure. You know what I mean? The hard rubber plastic classic, the hard rubber classic LJN wrestling figures from the 80s that I had as a child. At the same time I was getting He-Man figures for Christmas, I was getting my LJN Superstars. And while there is a collector's, you know, there's a collector's market for the vintage figures, I don't really have time nor the energy or the effort to just add collecting the LJN figures to my toy collection, even though I've had people reach out to me and be like, hey man, I got some LJNs if you're interested. And it's like, I totally am, but it's like, I'm always in the middle of taking care of something. You know what I mean? I'm always in the middle of trying to finish something that I'm currently trying to collect, take care of, check off, before I just want to jump into something else, even though I always find myself jumping into something else when it comes to adding new shit, because this whole thing's a clusterfuck when it comes to collecting toys and shit. And it's like, I mean, I will say I'm not interested in buying something one week, and then the next thing you know, I have a complete wave 1 of Turtles of Grayskull when I was completely against the shit in the first place. But with the WWE Coliseum Collection, like I said, they're box sets with 2 figures based on their 80s LJN counterpart, and they come in these beautiful decorative boxes. And I'd like to think, and what I'm seeing with these boxes, there's a thread connecting the 2 superstars who are inside the box, and there's a reason to connect them. And I say, and I'm gonna start with the Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk box. With the Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk box, you got Hulk Hogan on the one side of the box, and it's Hulk Hogan wearing a white Hulkamania shirt, red tights, white knee pads, white boots, and he's got the WWE Championship, and he's rocking a red headband. And Terry Funk is on the other side of the box, and Terry Funk is wearing his red top, he's got his chaps, he's got his boots, he's got his cowboy hat, his branding iron, and then you look on the side of the box and you got 2, you know, cartoon caricature versions of classic promo pictures of Hogan and Terry Funk. And on the top of the box in quotation marks, it says, Hulkamania is running wild, brothers. Say your prayers and eat your vitamins, Hulkamaniacs. Now, oh, and on the bottom it says, the man from the Double Cross Ranch, you're nothing but an egg-sucking dog. So it's got Terry Funk, Hulk Hogan quotes on it. And I'm going to go to a break real quick. And when we get back, we're going to crack open this box. Alright, we're back. Like I said, with the two figures in the box, there's something connecting the two superstars, be it a feud or a match. And in this case, this Hulk Hogan Terry Funk box represents when Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk faced each other on Saturday night's main event, because Hulk Hogan wasn't wearing his traditional red and yellow that night. He was wearing what's basically referred to as either Hogan's house show colors, where he was like wearing blue tights with like white knee pads, or he was wearing like black trunks with red knee pads, you know what I mean? Hogan had other color gear before he had his like permanent red and yellow Hulkamania colors. But Hogan wore off colors that night when he faced Terry Funk on Saturday night's main event. But, and I'll get to this in a moment, as I open up this box. Now this is going to be fucking sick. Now this box is beautifully decorated, and on the inside flap it says Hulk Hogan versus Terry Funk. And if we open this box and stand it up, the inside of the box has a flap of ring ropes and the ring post and turnbuckles and a bunch of fans. And the packaging of these Coliseum Collection boxes is absolutely sick. Check this shit out. This is really sick too. Alright. Alright, got Terry Funk, get him out of there. Alright, now opening, there we go, a whole full inside box with no figures inside. There you see the complete inside wrap of the ropes, the ring posts, the fans. So that looks really fucking sick, but this is what's really awesome. These figures are in this replica packaging, and now I will say these are not like sealed shut like normal WWE figures. They're not, or like even like the Ultimate Edition boxes, they're not taped shut. I mean, this box was taped shut, but these aren't. These have the collector packaging, so the card slides right up, but everything's safe and secure inside the packaging. But you got Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk. Now, the packaging of these figures it's half based on the LJN figures, but it's not half based on the LJN figures, and I'm going to explain. Because you had LJN, and LJN had its WWF Wrestling Superstars packaging that had like this cartoon ring backdrop with the fans in the background, and there was like a cartoon Hulk Hogan that had like Big John stud in an armbar. It showed his arm all twisted and shit. So that was the packaging, but LJN designed that packaging for the WWF Wrestling Superstars. So technically, LJN owns that, not WWF, WWE. However, what is WWE original was the artwork for the posters that came included with the Wrestling Superstars figures. Because, like it says right here, Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk in the 80s, underneath that cardboard name tag was a rolled up poster being, rolled up with a rubber band. And it was, and it had a poster for the figure you bought. So this packaging with Coliseum Collection, with the way these fans are drawn, and with the way the artwork is of Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk, it's actually based on the artwork of the posters that came with the figures, rather than the LJN Wrestling Superstars packaging, because that LJN trademark, over the years, I think the LJN trademarks like wound up with Jakks Pacific, but I know Jazzwares, who does the AEW figures, AEW is able to use that, a parody inspired replica of that Wrestling Superstars packaging for their hard rubber AEW figures. And I believe the only ones they made was the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and I think Darby Allin got one. But I don't know how many other AEW wrestlers got those hard rubber figures. So that's why WWE has the Coliseum Collection. Not necessarily saying they're doing the Coliseum Collection because AEW is doing a parody of the Wrestling Superstars figures with the AEW versions of the hard rubbers. But what WWE is doing instead is they're doing they're doing Ultimate Edition versions of the figures that have the 30 points of articulation, that have the butterfly biceps. They have like the rolling abs, and they're as cream of the crop when it comes to articulation and included accessories. And these figures are posed in their packaging based on the original LJN figure pose they were back in the day. Like, the Terry Funk figure was posed just like this Terry Funk figure. He was wearing this outfit, only his chaps were molded plastic on the leg, so the chaps were part of his leg, and he had the top he's wearing. It's just his hat was removable, and he came with a branding iron. So that's recreated, as well as this Hulk Hogan figure is very interesting because WWE has already put out a shit ton of Hulk Hogan figures over the past year, whether it's Hollywood Hogan, 80s WWF Hogan, late 80s WWF Hogan, early 90s WWF Hogan, 2003 Return Hogan in both NWO and red and yellow colors, not to mention the WWE Elite WCW versions of Hogan. You know what I mean? So this version of Hogan, I feel, is chef's kiss, man. Because with the history of the LJN Wrestling Superstars figures, like, all the 80s figures, they were all on the same blue cards from like 1984 through like 1988. But it wasn't until that period of time where LJN was apparently having like bankruptcy issues and whatnot. So like the Wrestling Superstars production line moved to like a factory in Canada that wound up doing the final waves of the Wrestling Superstars figures, and they put them out on these black cards. and they had like Wrestling Superstars 89 was like added to it, and they weren't available in American stores. They were only available in Canada, and the only way you even had a chance of getting your hands on them as an American was if you saw the flyer that was either on the back of a WWF magazine or a Pro Wrestling Illustrated or another wrestling magazine that happened to have this like single page flyer that showed like all these new figures that were available at the time, like Axe from Demolition, Bret the Hitman Hart, the Ultimate Warrior, Ted DiBiase. Like they had Brutus Beefcake re-released, and they had a brand new version of Hulk Hogan that was wearing a white Hulkamania shirt, and he was wearing white tights. So it was like really cool seeing this new Hogan available that wasn't wearing red and yellow. It was a new version of Hogan that had you know, a different set of gear and a different pose. You know what I mean? He's like posed like this instead of being like the Hulk Hogan pose. You know what I mean? And he just looked really fucking sick. So you had like 1989 Hogan, and that's what this version of Hogan is based on. For like, it gives them a reason to not re-release another red and yellow Hogan, and they can have it make sense. And it's cool that it's a throwback to that Hogan 89. And looking at this Hogan, it looks like it's just like the Ultimate Edition Hogan that I opened last year on Ian vs. Daddybones, and I'm not complaining about that at all. The WWE Ultimate Edition Hulk Hogan that I opened, he was wearing the red Hulkamania shirt. He had the cross. You know what I mean? He had his 80s version of the WWE Championship, and he looked really freaking sick. And he came with alternate heads, and it looks like this Hogan is rocking one of the alternate heads that came with my other Hogan, only he's got a different color headband, and it's a different version of the WWF Championship that's actually based more on the belt that came with the Hogan figure in the LJN line to begin with. So it just looks absolutely sick. And from what I understand, since this was the first box for the Coliseum Collection, on the back it shows Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk, but it also shows Sergeant Slaughter. And doing my research, the Sergeant Slaughter figure was, I guess it was 2021 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and he's no longer available on Mattel Creations. So someday I may try and hunt down that Sergeant Slaughter figure. But the one thing that also comes included in the box is this separator board that has Coliseum Collection backdrop on one side, so you could like take photos of your figures and use this as a backdrop. And it also has the vintage 80s blue WWE backdrop with the WWE logos. So that's another attention to detail that love and affection that they throw into these boxes. So that's the Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk box that just looked absolutely sick. And yeah, we'll move on in just a moment. Let me get these guys back in. But nah, I'm like really surprised that not only were these still in stock, but I'm honestly surprised they didn't sell out during the whole BOGO thing. Because honestly, if I was in a position to jump on these during the holiday season, I totally would have. But since we got our furnace replaced last year, that's kind of been my focus in the background. But moving on, we got Ravishing Rick Rude and Jake the Snake Roberts. And like I said, you know, there's something connecting these two superstars in the box, and in this case it would be the legendary feud between Jake the Snake Roberts and Ravishing Rick Rude. And it was all over Jake the Snake Roberts. being a disgusting pig to, Ravishing Rick Rude being a disgusting pig to Cheryl Roberts, who at the time was Jake the Snake's wife, and over the course of life they wound up getting divorced. And from what I understand, they are now back together, living happily ever after all these years later. So congratulations to Jake and Cheryl Roberts. But Ravishing Rick Rude was basically, a chauvinist pig back in the 80s. And he was a wonderful heel. He was an amazing wrestler. And in my opinion, I always feel that he was one guy that definitely should have had a run at with the WWE Championship, and I feel he should have beaten the Ultimate Warrior for the WWF title, even if he had to drop it back to him like the following week. You know what I mean? I think Rick Rude definitely deserved to be a WWF champion. But no, you got the back of the package. It's got Ravishing Rick Rude, Jake the Snake Roberts, Hulk Hogan, Terry Funk. But this Ravishing Rick Rude figure is actually posed in package just like his vintage figure back in the day, which was actually kind of pretty fucking lame because he was posed with his hands on his hips. So like being a kid in the 80s, like I never had the Ravishing Rick Rude figure, and to the best of my knowledge, Bobby from back in the day never had Ravishing Rick Rude, even though Bobby from back in the day definitely had Jake the Snake Roberts. But from what I hear, anybody that had the Ravishing Rick Rude figure says he straight up fucking sucked because you couldn't do anything with him. His hands were permanently on his hips like he was, a disappointed dad that your room's not clean or something, which I can relate to because I make that same pose when I'm disappointed in my son because I got to tell him like 8 times, yo, can you clean your room? But this Ravishing Rick Rude figure, he's wearing the same, like I said, they're all wearing the same gear as their vintage 80s figure. But the Rick Rude figure just looks absolutely sick. And he includes his Simply Ravishing red robe. And, he's not wearing it in the package because he's posed like the vintage figure. But you do have the option of putting his robe on him, and that looks pretty fucking sick. And with Jake the Snake Roberts, he's posed just like his LJN vintage figure. And I do gotta say that this is by far one of the coolest looking Damians that I've ever seen with a Jake the Snake figure, which makes sense because looking back, it's like the Damians that came with Jake the Snake figures were usually just some shitty molded snake with a wire in it that was just made to bend. And I feel like if you would have tried to put less effort on making it a bendable snake and just making a decent looking moldable snake that can just fit on his fucking shoulders, that would have been the best thing to do. And obviously that's what they did this time. And this Damien looks absolutely sick. Like, even if it came with, like, I don't know, a Jurassic Park dinosaur or something, or even some other toy line. Like, if it came with a Godzilla figure, it would still look like a decent snake. But Jake Roberts, I'm trying to think. I don't know what accessories included. Posable Damien. Oh, he is posable. Posable Damien, snake bag, swappable hands, swappable heads. So he comes with additional Jake the Snake Robert heads. Ravishing Rick Rude comes with swappable hands, swappable heads, and he comes with an additional robe. And it's the same thing with the Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk, and it's just absolutely sick with these figures. You know what I mean? Like, it really has me thinking going forward with the WWE putting out the Coliseum Collection figures, how long do they plan on keeping this going? Like, are they trying to go through the entire LJN vintage line? Which I certainly hope not, because like, while I'm having a blast buying these figures, the reality is, there were some stinkers when it came to the LJN vintage line. So I really don't want to have to buy Outback Jack or Special Delivery Jones and Coliseum Collection. I kind of feel those guys would be unnecessary. but it really makes me think as far as who else could possibly come out in the future, because I'm just thinking off the top of my head, if they put out a 2-pack of Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth, I would definitely get that shit, put it on the shelf, and you know, I'm gonna take a break real quick and jump into the George the Animal Steele Rowdy Roddy Piper box, and I'm gonna be talking about the upcoming Coliseum Collection drop that's gonna be all about the Heart Foundation. So we'll be right back. Alright, we are back. Now, we got the third box, George the Animal Steele versus Rowdy Roddy Piper. Now, I'm not gonna front, to the best of my knowledge, I don't really remember George the Animal Steele and Rowdy Roddy Piper having much of a feud. But I did do my research, and there was some interaction between the two. And I still wouldn't say it would be enough to like put them in a Coliseum Collection box together. I would think, you know, if I, you know, before I went to break, I suggested Macho Man Randy Savage and Elizabeth. But if they're gonna do a Macho Man Randy Savage and Elizabeth box, George the Animal Steele, I don't give a fuck, man. I'm doing a show right now. That fucking Spectrum. Your internet's due. I know my internet's due. I'm gonna pay it like tomorrow. Fuck. But I would say with George the Animal Steele, I would have probably packaged him with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and had that be a WWE Coliseum Collection, because I don't know. To me, I think Rowdy Roddy Piper would have probably gone better with like Mr. Wonderful, or if they made Cowboy Bob Orton. But at the same time, I don't believe Cowboy Bob Orton got an LJN figure, but I know Mr. Wonderful did. So I'm just saying, for like them being, you know, tag partners at Wrestlemania 1 and both having LJN figures when Wrestlemania was new, that's who I probably would have put in the Piper box. But either way, we got George the Animal Steele and we got Rowdy Roddy Piper. And as I stand these up and look at the back of the the blister card, I see all 6 of the figures that have been released in the boxes, minus the Sergeant Slaughter, because I mean these ones are available for purchase. Sergeant Slaughter was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. And even on the back it says Twist 'em, Turn 'em, Battle 'em, the Ultimate Collection. And Rowdy Roddy Piper comes with a kilt, soft good, t-shirt, microphone, swappable heads, swappable hands. Because he's got the one Rowdy Roddy Piper face where he's going, ah! And that's fucking dope. And then you got George the Animal Steele. Now this is dope. He comes with soft good shirt, swappable hands, swappable heads, and the cool thing is he's rocking his one head where he's got his green tongue hanging out, because George the Animal Steele was one of those 80s weird wrestlers that just made kids like puzzled as fuck, because there really was no proper explanation as to why his tongue is green. It's just George the Animal Steele always had his tongue hanging out of his mouth and it was green. Just like he also, you know, only, you know, for the most part, he usually only said the word mind. And he carried around a stuffed doll that was like hairy like he was, bald like he was, had a green tongue like he did, and the name of the doll was mine, and he would carry mine and be like, mine, mine, you know what I mean? Kind of like my 3-year-old with everything in my fucking house right now. Mine, mine. No, Sadie, it's not yours. You don't need the Roku remote. But George the Animal Steel comes with a mine doll. So he comes with a mine doll, swappable heads, swappable hands, soft goods shirt, and the ultimate really weird thing that he would do is George the Animal Steel was famous for tearing open the turnbuckle and like biting it, tearing it open, grabbing the stuffing of the turnbuckle and like throwing it up in the air and making a mess and getting the stuffing all over the place. And he'd have it like on his face and on his hairy ass body and just be covered in the stuffing. And George the Animal Steel even comes with a ripped turnbuckle that has stuffing hanging out. So if you have one of the WWE Retro Elite rings, you're able to put this turnbuckle on your ring if you don't want him to like hold it up as an accessory. So like I said, they all come with this shit. They all come with the additional heads, whether they're soft good t-shirts or robes, title belts, additional hands. Like they all come with these really dope accessories and extras, and it just really going above and beyond with the attention to the detail, and this shit's just so sick. Like, I remember getting this Rowdy Roddy Piper LJN figure for Christmas one year, and this Ultimate Edition Rowdy Roddy Piper figure is in the same fucking pose as the one I got for Christmas. You know, I had George the Animal Steel, and for the most part, the LJN figure was posed like that. He's just got better articulation, so he's not stuck in the hard rubber pose where he's kind of like a gorilla. So even though he is kind of like posed like a gorilla. But either way, sick as fuck. I'm absolutely blown away with everything WWE's throwing into this particular line of the Ultimate Editions, because honestly, they are pricey. They're like $70 a box. So with the, so to a degree, doing the math, I kind of dropped $210 on these 3 boxes, but I split it up over a month and a half, making alternating payments every 2 weeks, slowly ticking them off, and yeah, so got them taken care of. And like I said, coming up in 2 weeks, we got the Heart Foundation is being added to the Coliseum Collection. And the best part about the Heart Foundation being added to the Coliseum Collection, there's actually going to be 2 versions of the Heart Foundation Coliseum Collection boxes. We're going to have a blue box, we're going to have blue card versions, and we're going to have black card versions. And the reason we're getting blue card and black card versions is simple. When the Heart Foundation was released originally, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Bret the Hitman Hart were released as a 2-pack as tag team champions that came with the belts. So they came with the tag titles. So the blue box, the blue card version of the Hart Foundation comes with the LJN version of the tag titles that their original vintage figures came with. The black carded versions are based on the re-released Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Bret the Hitman Hart figures that were released when they were trying to push Bret as a singles wrestler the first time after WrestleMania 4. When they first tried splitting up the Hart Foundation, they wanted Bret the Hitman Hart to have a single carded figure because of his rising popularity. Plus, with them being produced in Canada, it made perfect fucking sense to have the Hart Foundation individually on black cards. And the way they decided to do this as a second version or a chase variant is the black carded versions of Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart come with the WWF Tag Team Championships that they actually wore instead of the action figure version of the belts that the blue card versions come with, and they look absolutely sick. Like, I already made a reel on Facebook and Instagram the day I found out about these Hart Foundation figures. They look absolutely sick. So if you're interested in adding these to your collection, go to Mattel Creations. I can't guarantee they're going to be still in stock whenever whoever is watching this video right now. But absolutely fucking sick. You know, I don't see them putting out every figure from the vintage LJN line, but there's definitely figures that I feel most definitely deserve to be added to a Coliseum Collection box in the future. For example, like I already said, Macho Man and Liz, but I'm thinking fucking the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov could be added as a box. Just, you know, you could even do Andre the Giant and fucking King Kong Bundy. That would be pretty fucking sick. But Heart Foundation, March 14th, and something else real quick, since I'm here, I want to jump on, I want to talk about. Mattel Creations has something going down. Because as we kick off March, normally by this time of the year, based on my experience with 2023 and 2022, normally by the time we hit March, Mattel has already made an announcement as far as upcoming waves for Masters of the Universe in addition to its other toy lines. Now, this year, what I found out is the reason for it is they usually make their announcements around the time of the New York Toy Fair, and this year the New York Toy Fair is going down in March. So Mattel made an announcement that on March 21st at 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is basically noon for me here on the East Coast, they're going to have a first ever event that they're calling an epic show in the making. Mattel Creations presents Revealed, and like I said, it goes down March 21st at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So basically, if you're a gamer and you're familiar with the way Nintendo does its Nintendo Directs, I am assuming we're going to basically get like a 30 to 45 minute to even an hour long presentation from Mattel that's going to break down all of its lines, from like Hot Wheels to Barbie to WWE to Masters of the Universe to Mega, you know, Monster High, Jurassic Park. I'm becoming very familiar with everything that Mattel has to offer on Mattel Creations. And we're basically just gonna, they're basically just gonna roll out the goods. And when it comes to me, as a Masters of the Universe fan, I am actually expecting / predicting / assuming that we are going to find out the next drops, which would probably be waves 3 and 4 of the cartoon collection, waves 3 and 4 of Turtles of Grayskull. We're probably going to find out everything we're going to need to know before this new crowdfund for the Snake Lair begins for Masters of the Universe, because the Eternia saga is officially over. We're officially in the era of the Snake Lair and the powers of Grayskull. And if the King Grayskull packaging and the Modi packaging from Eternia are a sneak peek of things to come, we're gonna know more when all is revealed on March 21st. So there's so much shit that's about to go down. I know I have WWE as my focus for March. April, I'm running it back to Masters of the Universe, because the rest of my Wave 11 and my Wave 12 Masterverse figures have all showed up, as well as I'm up to date with my Wave 1 of Turtles of Grayskull, and I'm complete with my Wave 1 of Cartoon Collection, which is another Origins sub-brand based on the Filmation cartoon from the 80s. So there's so much shit going down on Ian versus Daddybones, and like I said, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch the show. Thank you guys very much for supporting me, smashing that share button. Follow me on social media. I'm way more active on TikTok and Instagram right now than I have been, because I'm actually finding out I'm getting better results with the algorithm by posting my content on TikTok and Instagram first, especially comparing it to uploading a reel on Facebook and uploading a reel to Instagram and having it cross-post to Facebook. How the Instagram cross-post is getting more views than the regular Facebook reel is beyond me, but I'm basically just trying to finger bang the algorithm and just make it squirt in the long run, you know what I mean? And I really can't make the algorithm squirt without the assistance of everybody. So I just need you all out there, if you have a moment, to just finger me, smash that share button. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, cheers, Pete!
Fuck Ian Daddybones. Fuck Twin Widow, whatever the hell it is. No one gives a shit about you, Ian. Everyone hates you. Fuck off.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Having a banger and you're all invited. Share with friends and I'll see you later. Bring everyone, invite my haters. Throw your hands in the fucking air. Let's push a cripple down a flight of stairs. Got new shit right for your ears. My Hadouken is downright fierce. Rock out with my cock out. Jump around, I got your shout outs. I'm Daddybones, no need to panic. Talking riddles like a schizophrenic. 24/7, I got the party. Roofie roos and whoop-de-doos. Retarded fools with attitudes, bro. Everything's mixed with Bacardi. Glow stick black like tons of bubbles. Titties on bitches, nothing but trouble. Got my pills, ain't no quitter. Pop that shit, here comes my glitter. Not a dancer, I got no skills. Bobbing my head and standing still. Tons of bitches, ravers, goths. Down to fuck and get your salad tossed. It's the greatest thing that you ever saw. Put your hands in the air for a party. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Having a bang and you're all invited. Kids posing, muscles flexing, trains dressed like a favorite X-Men. If there's one thing that drives me crazy, you give high fives but you fucking hate me. Might have rabies, might have herpes. Breastfeed me and you'll have to burp me. I'll be up on stage, throwing out beads, grabbing my dick and spraying my seed all over your face. That's fucking rude. Raise it up and show your boobs. Dance around and go friggin' nuts. Just b-boy stance and light your blunts. Don't be a cunt. Tuck your chain, don't start no shit. Use your brain, it's all a game. Let's play some Yahtzee, eat Tide Pods and punch a Nazi. Not a dancer, I got no skills. Bobbing my head and standing still. Tons of bitches, ravers, goths. Down to fuck and get your salad tossed. It's the greatest thing that you ever saw. Put your hands in the air for a party. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Having a bang and you're all invited.